All right, so we're on recording, and welcome everybody once again to The Push, presented by Bodyslam.net. I am Dominic Mallon, one half of your co-hosts, with the owner slash jefe of Bodyslam.net, Cassidy Haynes.
How's it going, guys? We're here again.
And we have an extra special interview today with Australia's own Shazza McKenzie.
Hello, that is me. I am here. Good day.
That's good. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coming up on a year, man.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe that it's almost a year since we were all three in Baltimore.
It's insane. Like, it's insane and depressing. But it is what it is.
Probably more for you, though, since everything right now in Australia's pretty much shut down still, right?
I mean, we're not shut down. We're locked out from the rest of the world. And our, entertainment industry is shut down. All live entertainment is just people are screwed. And then we're all locked in they're slowly starting to open borders now, but we're all essentially locked in our state. We can't travel out of state without government exemption, and then we can't travel overseas without government exemptions. So we're just but regular life is fine. Like the shops are open, schools are open,
Gotcha.
Your normal day-to-day life stuff is it's chill.
Yeah.
It's but it's just the things that I need to do and like to do.
No wrestling, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and I know you've been keeping busy with a lot of other things in the meantime. You have your podcast, That's So Shazza, which I'm a big fan of myself. And of course, I'm a big fan of producer Paul too.
Don't say that. He'll just explode. He'll think he's the greatest.
Well, that podcast it's just fun, and honestly, part of it for me being from Philly and from America is just the accents itself. I think it just adds to it all. But you guys aren't just talking about you add wrestling in with life and just what's going on, and it's awesome. You give your personal views as well as peeling back the curtain a little bit without being too much. One of the things that you talked about recently on the podcast was the booking of the Iconics. The recent booking of the Iconics, or lack thereof, I guess we should say.
My heart broke.
And I do not say this to add any fuel to the fire or to add to that heartbreak at all, but Body Slam just posted today news that was really just more of a quote coming out about Vince McMahon kind of really having lack of vision for Peyton Royce moving forward, and that the whole breakup kind of just seems like it's all for naught now.
Oh,
right.
I had all my grief and I was depressed and sad that they broke them up, and then I was no, this is their time to shine. They're gonna go and they're gonna show everyone how freaking good they are as individuals and as whatever. But then they just randomly hit, then Billy was just managing.
You guys came up together, right?
Yeah. So. Jessie McKay, so Billy Kay, she started wrestling maybe about 6 months before me. And then Peyton Royce started wrestling. So she started having matches after training for 2 weeks. She did a 2-week boot camp, and she just went every day for hours, and she was the only one that did. And she had did she have her first? No, she didn't have her first match in 2 weeks. She had her debut on a show. She had her first match 3 months later. It was very quick.
Still quick, yeah.
Yeah, it was incredibly quick. She was this is what I'm doing. But she was 16 at the time. So her parents were then I think when she got her first injury, her parents were this is not what you're doing. You were in high school. So there was a break there. And then she came back once she was an adult. She took a year off or something, but yeah, and that was, she started in January 2009, and I had my first match in September 2008. So it was, we're all kind of in that same, especially because there's very, at that time especially, there's very little women's wrestlers in Australia, so it all felt we could have come up a day apart and it would have felt the same.
Right. That's cool.
I wear this this AEW shirt to honor what should have been and what should be moving forward, because you had such a role going with AEW before everything shut down, not to any doing of your own or AEW's doing, but just the the circumstances as they are. And I know Cass and I obviously have been fans for a while. I know you have a strong fan base, but when everything does open back up, are you excited to hopefully come back to AEW? Is that still open door?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, like by no means am I signed or anything like that. But like I mean, unless something's happened the last 6 months that I'm not aware of, and I've pissed someone off with my existence on the internet, I believe the door is somewhat open. But I don't know like what will happen in the future. And I think because there's just like at the moment, because that's just so far not a possibility in my life, and like there is no time frame on when it's going to be a possibility. I can't like obsess over it. I have to just sort of be happy with what I have, like be like I have my friends, I have my family, I have this life here, like things are okay. Like, yeah, I wish I could wrestle, but eventually I'm going to get to be able to wrestle. And like I can't be like, I just need to get overseas because I don't know when that's going to happen. And if I just like think about it too much, I'll drive myself insane. And
had there been talks before all this happened and you had to turn around and go back to Australia about possibly signing? I mean, you had more dates with AEW planned, obviously, coming in. Was it you coming back in March, right, when you were flying over?
I was over in March.
Yeah.
I didn't have there was no discussion of signing. I was invited to shows.
Yeah.
That I was in the area for and stuff, but
I think I was.
Nothing.
Which
Yeah,
one?
nothing.
I was trying to remember where you were, because I think you worked one of the AEW shows that I had traveled and went to there prior to
The Charlotte one?
Yeah, it was the Charlotte one right before we went to right before Baltimore, because I went to Charlotte and went up for the weekend, so that makes sense. Yeah.
I remember it's in Charlotte because every place I go that I wrestle and like I have like an important career moment, I always buy a fridge magnet. So I just have a Charlotte fridge magnet. To like the outsiders, like, why did you buy a Charlotte fridge
That makes sense to me. One of my
Yeah,
friends, she always has me bring a little snow globe no matter where I go when I do a trip.
Yeah.
So yeah, same thing. Yeah.
Magnets are my little like trinket. Like not from every town that I wrestle in, but like towns that like have important moments in my life. I don't know.
No,
Things.
anything that's personal to you or something to look back on. I'm the same way, and it's anytime I go on a trip, it's such a cheap, memento. You don't have to break the bank for it, and you put it right on the fridge. And I'm the same way. I like to collect. Every time I go to a new Major League Baseball stadium, I got to get a magnet or something like that.
Yeah.
But for somebody like you, traveling has got to be. I know it sounds like a moot point right now, but traveling is such a big part of your life leading up to COVID. Is that something that you enjoy, the traveling process itself?
There's parts of it I enjoy. Like I like being in new places and meeting new people and eating new food and going to seeing new things and different things and stuff. The actual act of, waking up at 3 a.m. for a flight, then having to lay over and then catch another flight and then, rush to the venue but not so much. But, like if teleportation existed, much better. Yeah. But I do, I love being out and meet, I feel like I have all these friends all over the world. And like when I travel, I just meet new friends and I see old friends, and it's just it's just fun. I don't know. But yeah, it's still the actual travel is horrible.
Were you on the plane to America when you had to turn around, right, for COVID? Did I hear that right?
Yeah, I flew all the way over there. Yeah.
And then had to turn around and go right back, wasn't it?
I was there for 4 days.
4 days, okay.
There was I got there on the Thursday and that's like, while I was in the plane was when, like, the time that America went from ha ha ha, this is just the flu, to oh my god, we're actually all gonna die. So by the time I got off the plane, everyone was like panic. And then like I got off and I had shows that weekend, and one of them got cancelled, and then I picked up another show to replace it, and then one of them didn't get cancelled, so I did that. And then by the Monday, all my shows coming up for like the next few weeks had been cancelled, and then I was like, yeah, I should probably go home.
Yeah, before you get stuck over here without any way to make money. Yeah.
Yeah, at least in America, that's how it was. It was like a 3-week period where everybody was just in a what do we do situation. You know, do we cancel? Do we keep it going for businesses, for concerts, for shows, everything? But
well, yeah, and like that was my big fear, was that I was going to make the decision to go home too early, and like in 2 weeks everything was going to be back to normal. Because originally it was just everyone's going to quarantine for 2 weeks and we should be happy and fine and get on with our lives. But luckily for me, that's not what happened, because I would have been very upset if I'd gone home and then like all my dates had continued to happen.
Right, because for you, going home is a several days experience. It's not like you just, I'll be there in a few hours, I'll turn around and come back. But
yeah, it's a big experience. And then I had to quarantine when I got home, because that, like, by then my country had put in strict international arrivals like rules as well. So then I was just stuck in a room for 2 weeks as well for my 4-day trip to America.
We've kept you talking about COVID for too long during this. When everything opens back up, I speak for the entire country, I'm sure, when I say we're very excited to have you back in America, doing what you do. Are there any specific towns that you're excited to just get back to experience, or maybe to wrestle in front of specific town crowds?
I mean, so my favorite place to wrestle is, like, favorite town to wrestle in is always Chicago, because that's sort of where, like, I built my name when it comes to American independence. So that's like where Shimmer is built, where Shimmer is based. So that's where I sort of built my fan base and then trickled out from there. Every time I go to America, I usually stay in Philadelphia, because there's some good training schools around there, and I love Philadelphia as a town. I haven't really wrestled in Philadelphia. I don't know if I've ever wrestled in Philadelphia. Sure. No, yeah, I have. Don't worry, I have. I have.
It's probably not a positive experience, unfortunately.
That Philly crowd, you never can tell how it's going to go.
Okay, good.
It was all right. But yeah, like, I always stay in Philly because I love Philly as a town, as a city, I don't know what it is. But Chicago's my wrestle.
Yeah. I mean, we have a totally different area. I mean, I'm from the mountains of North Carolina. I'm near Charlotte, but I'm in like the rural part of North Carolina, kind of where Edge lives, and where Cash Wheeler and some of those guys are from, up in the Asheville area. But it's definitely not a city like Philly.
Yeah, and as you know, I'm from where civilization exists and commerce.
Exact opposite, yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm a city person. Not like city, but like I need to be around things. I need to be able to walk to things very easily, and that's who I don't know.
Yeah, we don't even have Uber in my town. It's ridiculous. Yeah, there was one guy and he quit doing it. So now,
it made me cry. Like,
yeah, it's rough. It's rough here. I end up being the Uber for everybody. My friends will go get drunk and then they can't get a ride home. So I'm like, I'll come get you. But yeah, we're a little backwoods here.
But let me stay on Philly for a second, because I'm so excited that you said that that's one of your favorite places. Now, you mentioned that you love going to different places to eat, trying new foods. Do you have a favorite place to eat when you're here in Philly?
Oh gosh, so this one time, cheeseburger, was it cheeseburger or was it?
It
might have been Grizzly Redwood, actually. I don't know. It was like the first time I went to Philly, which was in 2012. They took me to this random little diner, and it was just like, and it was like a proper diner. Like, like I've been to a lot of Denny's, and I love Denny's, and like everyone's always like, a real diner, and I'm like, bitch, that's delicious. I don't know what you're talking about. But it was just like one of those mom and pop diners that were fantastic, but also just Wawa. I love Wawa. Like, Team Wwe. What the fuck is Sheets? Fuck off.
Oh man, we're
Team
Sheets. We're Sheets here. Oh man,
you just keep getting better and better.
No.
We're a lot.
Gregory Iron, my buddy, we interviewed him. He's Team Sheets. He's a Sheets guy.
Yeah, I know he is.
Oh yeah.
But Sheets is such a normal name, and when you have a name like Shazza, you need to frequent places with names as cool as Wwe. It just makes
Sheets has a Z in it.
I have a Wwe t-shirt. I should have worn it.
Do you really? Well,
yeah,
you know what?
You get sponsorship that way.
Wwe cups.
I love that.
Big fan of Wwe.
We'll start sending you. Give us your PO box. We'll start sending you Wwe stuff. But you mentioned briefly Shimmer. And you on your last That's So Shazza episode, you got into talking about just the evolution of women's wrestling, not just in the ring. Everybody always talks about how, there's such a progression of taking women seriously in the ring. But one thing that I love that you mentioned on your most recent episode is the evolution of women outside of the ring in the wrestling industry. And you mentioned Mission Pro, Thunder Rosa's promotion. They just had their show, and similar promotions. Rise is another one that focuses on women's wrestling. Are there any?
Queens of Combat down here in Charlotte, Queens of Combat. That's one.
Okay. Yep.
Yep.
But as somebody who has so many connections in the industry and has, for as young as you are, having such a history in the business, is there any maybe small-time promotion that doesn't really have a big brand name, or any specific people that that just have such a positive reputation for being able to be progressive in that sense with creating jobs for women in the industry?
I think it's still something that the industry as a whole is sort of working on slowly. So there's not like one specific place or people that jump to my mind or anything, but I think it's just as a whole, especially with everything that's happened this year, I think the industry is realizing that women need to have a more prominent role, not just like the equality thing isn't just here's your women's like we've got 2 women's matches on the show, like hell yeah, nailed it. Like that's not what equality is, just treating us as equals, whatever our role is, whether we're like, if we have an interviewer, a female interviewer, you're not going to like, the male interviewer isn't going to get like sexualized by the female wrestlers when they're being interviewed. So you don't do the same shit to the, sorry, I'm just going to swear.
You can swear, it's fine.
Dude, that's my, he gets on me all the time. He gets on me all the time for it. So fire away.
So, but like you wouldn't do that to a male interviewer. So why would you do it to a female interviewer? And I think it's also really important to have females behind the scenes creating the stories for women. Because like, whilst we're all human and we all live in this world and like guys are aware of what females do and how they react to things, I think females just have a better understanding of what would create attention and create a story amongst females. And I just think it's strange to ever have men writing for women's storylines, because they're writing about a whole life that they've never lived and experienced. So like, I don't know how they could, but like they obviously can, but it's always better when it's female.
It seems so simple too. I mean, and you said it again. I'm gonna keep plugging the name of the show just because I love saying that's so Shazza. But in the last episode, you mentioned how Veda Scott is so important to AEW in commentary, just because it's so important for you as a female to be able to hear wrestling, or for any female who any company wants to bring into the wrestling industry, to be able to sit down and watch the product from the perspective of a knowledgeable, well-spoken young female who knows what she's talking about. And you said it so perfectly, when nothing against Jim Ross or Tony Schiavone, but it's hard for a younger female to understand the perspective of an older an older male. So it's
exactly
right.
And I like, one of the things is that the females, like we're 50% of the population. So when you put on your wrestling show and you're trying to get ratings and you're trying to get people watching your show, if you're only targeting 50% of the population, you're not going to get the optimum result. Like to get the optimum result, you have to have something for everyone, and you have to have relatable characters for everyone, which is why like the cruiserweights are good, because that's relatable for the smaller people in life. And like there's all these different characters and everything. It's just everyone needs to be somewhat represented in some way. Like, well, not everyone, but like you need to do your best to create a diverse roster and a diverse product that anyone can sit down, watch the show, and they go, hey, I really get what that person's about. Like that's what connects. Like for me, I started watching wrestling not because I saw big, strong men fighting people up. I saw Trish Stratus and I thought, hell yeah, that's what I want to be. Like she's cool she's kicking ass and she's beautiful and she's just like not taking crap from anyone. That's what I want. Like, and like and I think if you talk to a lot of female wrestlers, like, yeah, a lot of them started watching as kids and they like have these male wrestlers that they fell in love with. But I think you'll find a lot of them, turned on and saw like the divas and thought that's like, I want to be them. Like they seem so strong and powerful. And even though they weren't even being perceived, I don't know what the word is.
Portrayed?
Portrayed.
It
can go either way. Either way it'll work for you.
They weren't being portrayed as these like strong, like they were, but not to the same way they are these days. They still had their fragility, which is also something that we as females connect with, because females, like men and women, actually, it's not just females, but like we all have a fragile side. So having characters that don't have any sort of fragility, that's a word I've just made up. Fragility
I like it.
is not going to be as relatable as having characters that don't. I don't know.
No, it's great. That's what makes wrestling great, is there's something for everybody if done correctly. And that's what, I mean, there's always a character for somebody that can relate to. And that's what I love about wrestling and going to these conventions and talking to people like, oh, who are you here for? And there's always somebody that's a fan of somebody that you never would expect. And you love seeing that, like, oh, it's just, I love wrestling for that reason too. I liked the bad guys when I was a kid, and I always liked Vader because I was a bigger guy, I was a bigger kid. So I like the big guys that were athletic and could do stuff and, so it's the same thing. I related to that.
I want to do that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Like, and you just relate to it. And I think that's, something I always say is like, everyone is someone's favorite wrestler. Like when I was a fan, like in my peak fandom, like on the internet, on the forums, on the dirt sheets, living my best life, writing knee-fed role plays, I was like, Dawn Marie, Maven. That was it. That was the only thing that mattered in my life. When they got fired 2 days, like Maven got fired, and then I was like, it's okay, they're not going to fire Dawn Marie. And then I went the next day, and they fired Dawn Marie while she was pregnant. I was inconsolable. My parents did not know what to do. I was like, how could they do that to Dawnie? It was very dramatic.
I didn't realize she was pregnant when they released her.
Yeah, she filed a lawsuit and she got money.
Yep.
Hey, I like that.
That's why none of the other girls have gotten fired while being pregnant.
The lawyer in you's got to love that, Dom.
I'm going through law school now, so anytime you bring any kind of legal mumbo jumbo into it, my ears perk up. But
this is my legal counsel at all times. I'm like, let me send you to my lawyer. He'll tell you what's going on.
That's why he's always getting in trouble, because he doesn't spring for an actual attorney. But
yeah.
Yeah, what can you do?
We got off topic, but this is a Twitter question that we're bringing in. Somebody wants to know, I'm not even going to say if, but when everything opens back up and you're back in AEW killing it, who would be your dream match in either the men's or women's division? Because let's be honest, it's 2020. You can take on anybody you want.
I can. Gosh, there's a lot of the women's division I have wrestled, but there's so many that I have. Like now that Serena Deeb, like she's an option for people to wrestle. What?
Right.
You mean?
And that's a girl, right? You hype her up a lot if you listen to That's So Shazza.
The fact that that's even like that's just, when I was a fan and started watching Shimmer as like a teenager, she was out there and like she was someone I looked up to, like her, Lacey, freaking Melissa, Sarah Del Rey, Rain, all of those girls, I was like, this is who I love. Bloody Chantel Taylor, everyone. And like, freaking, by the time she was, she retired and then she did the Mae Young Classic and then she was a trainer, I was like, well, it's just not an option. Like, that's fine. I just, I'm never going to wrestle Lacey and I'm never going to wrestle Serena Deeb. That's fine. I can accept that. But now it's an option. So this is a game changer. So she's like up there. But obviously also Sheeta, like, freaking, please, one day, can I wrestle Sheeta? She's amazing.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think everybody should wrestle Sheeta. I think I don't think she's possible, or I don't think she's capable of having a bad match with anybody. I've never seen her have a bad match.
No, but she's a beast. She's just a good wrestler, great wrestler. She's just a star.
And honestly, her moving to America too, to devote everything to AEW and learn the language, and that says a lot too for her commitment and just what she's done, and to be where she's at too. I mean, it shows. Yeah.
But enough about Sheeta. This is about Shazza.
Shazza.
I don't want to make it just all talking about Australia. Like, oh, this is just all we have to talk about is Australia. But I do want to ask you, because I always had such a fascination with traveling to Australia, because it always seems so exotic, yet at the same time so accessible to, well, exotic in the sense that when
I was like, not exotic,
but you see like some of the beaches and stuff in Sydney, and exotic to me, like the different types of wildlife and stuff that we don't have here in America. But at the same time, culturally, it seems so similar because, we speak the same language and we look so similar because we all derive from Europeans. But you being somebody who travels so frequently between both areas will really be able to speak to the differences and the similarities between both cultures, both countries. Do you notice any glaring differences when you come to America that you have to maybe adapt to, that you don't have to deal with when you're in Australia?
I can't swear as much. Like,
you can hear.
You can't hear.
Yeah,
I got a fucking horrible mouth, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, like, because I'll just like swear like I don't know, like every second word is a swear word. Not every second word, but like and also like damn is a swear word, and like weird things in America is swear. Like you can't say shit, and I'm like, what? Like these are just regular words, guys. Like calm down. Like
woman after my own heart. Like, I love it. I love it.
Like it's just like that's a lot for me to. Here's a fun story. You'll love this. So when I did the AEW Battle Royale, the night before we were like planning it out or whatever, and we're all in our little groups to try and talk about stuff. And I had met most people, whatever. And I was like saying some stuff. I was like, F this, blah, 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 some of this shit, blah, 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 like swearing my brain off. And then I turn around and Mr. Tony Khan is there. And he was like, oh, hi Shazza, I'm Tony. And I was like, hi, I'm Shazza. That's not how I normally speak. And he's like, no, that's fine. And I was like, no, cool. This is a good introduction. At least off the top that I have a potty mouth. But like swearing is such a big one. Like there's so many, like there's just, we say different words for things, like, and people be like, oh, I want to go to the toilet, and you guys are like, the bathroom? Like, yeah, whatever you freaking want to call it, mate. Like, it's just, And like one of the biggest things is like when you go to a restaurant, because Australia doesn't tip. We don't have tips. Like we have a much higher minimum wage. So our service staff don't rely on tips to make money. So like our service staff will just be, they won't be jerks, but they don't really care. And they don't pretend to care.
Right.
Whereas in America, everyone is very like
fake,
caring because they want the tips.
Very fake,
And like, that's, like, I don't know how, like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't be, like, maybe I could, I don't know. Like, I definitely could. But like, it's just so, it's crazy. It's just like, just pay people more and let them live their life. I don't know.
I agree, because I did it for 10 years waiting tables, and I'll just say it definitely was good practice for what I'm going to be getting into later in life with being an attorney. So it's but you definitely it's in America, you're basically a salesman because you're selling yourself just to be able to make money in your shift. But,
which is insane. It's absolutely insane.
And right now, well, things are opening back up restaurant wise in America. It's really broken up state by state,
Mm.
and so it's hard. But I don't think there's probably anybody that's hurting more than independent contracted professional wrestlers right now. And I don't know. I'm sure there's
Yeah.
people who can argue different careers, but it's I sympathize completely with the situation that you're in. And I know that you mentioned on the podcast that you're so used to traveling and being away from home, but you mentioned that the benefits to that are being able to get more time with your family, with your husband, and being able to really get that time that you wouldn't have otherwise. But when you are on the road, how do you keep up those relationships and that spark with your husband just being away for such long periods of time?
So I've been with my husband for over 7 years now. So when we got together, I had already started wrestling at Shimmer. It was already something that I did. And and it was just, I think, I don't know, we just have we have a healthy relationship. I don't know, we don't I don't FaceTime him every day or anything like that. We just, when he's awake, he'll message me, and when I'm awake, I'll message him, and we'll just tell each other about our days. Maybe if I've had a really bad day and I'm crying, I'll make him call me. But for the most part, I guess we just, I don't know. I don't know. But we're just two crazy wrestling people that just try, I don't know. We're just trying to be wrestlers and trying to have fun. And I think because he's a wrestler, he's it makes it so much easier because he's not confused why I have to make the sacrifices that I'm making. He's not oh, you're spending all your time. He's not oh, you're going to America for 2 months. How dare you? He's oh, you're going to America because you're trying to become a better wrestler and make a better name for yourself so you can get a job, so you can make money, so that we can have a better life together. It's he understands that thought process as opposed to just complaining that I'm not home. I'm very blessed to have someone that understands that and pays the bills when I'm not here, and looks after everything, and supports me and believes in me as well. He believes that I can do this. If he didn't believe in me, I wouldn't think I could do it, because I'd just be well, and whereas he's yeah, you're going to do this. Let's do this. What do we need to do? What needs to happen so that we can get you where you want to be? When I had my WWE tryout in 2016, we made a list, and he was just all right, let's do this. What are we doing? Everything that needs to get done, every outfit that needs to be bought, every hair and every it was just we're on a mission. We're doing this. What's the plan? Let's go. And I'm very blessed to have that.
I'm glad you brought your WWE tryout up. I was going to ask you about that. Tell me how that went, the whole process. I'm always interested in how that goes for people when they go down there and experience that.
So my tryout was in Sydney, Australia. So usually they'll do, not in Sydney, Australia, it was in Melbourne, Australia. I live in Sydney, Australia. So WWE comes down to Australia every year around August. But then this year they'll usually do a tryout every 2 years. So they did one in 2000, and I think they did one in 2012, and they did one in 2014, which is the one that Billy Kay and Peyton Royce got signed from. And then they did another one in 2016, which is the one that I did. And then they haven't done one since, because I don't know, they stopped caring about us, or they hired too many of us. I don't know. But the last 2 years they've come to while they've been down here for their tours, old mate Seaman Canyon has come to our independent shows and watched us wrestle, as opposed to holding an actual tryout. So my tryout that I did was the one that Rhea Ripley got signed from. She was my roommate, me and her. She thought I was crazy because I woke up at 5 a.m. to do my hair and makeup, because I was this is it. This is all I've got. And she was just she woke up 10 minutes beforehand, because she's just naturally beautiful, and she just put her hair up and ate a bloody cake and then went to the tryout. was great. And I was like, cool, that's cool, whatever, natural, I get it, whatevs. But like, yeah, so it was, gosh, how did it come about? I'm trying to think. I'd done some extras work in 2015 when I was in Florida. For NXT, I'd had a match with Emma, and I think through that I had somehow gotten the talent relations email address. I think I just sneakily got it from someone. I think maybe Jesus Rodriguez gave it to me, Ricardo Rodriguez. I think he gave it to me some reason. I don't know. Canyon's probably like, why are you giving out my email address? And I was like, yeah, whatever. So I just sort of like, I just kept like, you know, sending things and like being like, oh, hey, blah, blah, blah. Like, and then I'd heard like mumblings of there being a tryout that year, like mumblings along, because that's how it works. Everyone's like, oh, so good. And I was like, oh, here's my stuff. I hear you might be doing a tryout. And he was like, yes, we are doing a tryout. Would you like to come? And I was like, yes, I would. Thank you. And then like, but I didn't get like they don't confirm you until like, I don't know, I think it's less than a month. It's like 2 or 3 weeks. It's like nothing before they're like, oh yeah, actually come. And I was like, okay. And yeah, so then we did our tryout in the arena. It was before they were doing an NXT tour. Like, it was the only time they've ever brought NXT to Australia, but it was because they had so many Australians, I guess, at the time in NXT, because Buddy Murphy was in NXT, MDK was in NXT, and then the Iconics were in NXT. So I think they felt they had enough fan base to do an Australian tour. And yeah, it was such like, I was like, bro, if I get signed from this tryout, like, I've done nothing. Like, they abilities completely, because we've just done a warm-up and then done a match, and then we pretty much ran out of time because everything was, I don't know, it was a show day, so everything was going crazy and they had to film, and they was, yeah, I don't know, but it was fine. And then we went to the show, and then I don't know, and then like 2 days later, we were all like, well, Demi, her name's Demi Bennett, Rhea, everyone was like, Demi got signed, and then like, because then everyone knows. And then like 6 months later, they're like, oh yeah, Demi's inside. And I'm like, cool.
Always how it goes. Yeah. It's always that like trail that leads to the official. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Oh,
Chinese. And that's how
yeah. I want to ask if, because obviously you keep up with the product when you're not involved in it yourself, so you're watching other promotions and you're keeping an eye on everything. Is there anybody that you don't know personally that you've only seen just their work that you would love to be able to get the chance to work with, be it in AEW, out of AEW, anywhere in the world?
Okay, like, I legitimately love TJ, like, and I've never met either of them. And
oh,
like,
really?
But I just think they're fantastic. Yeah, like I've never met, like, I'm literally just this crazy fangirl on the internet. Like, they don't know me from a bar of soap, and I'm just every day like, I love you. Like, I'm literally.
I just assumed you know them.
No, not at all. Like, they must think I'm this crazy person on the internet, because I actually do not know them. Like, I'd never seen Anna Jay before she was on bloody AEW, and then I was just like, this girl is phenomenal, and I love her, and she just has such a presence and everything. But so it's gonna be very embarrassing when I actually meet them, and I have to be like, yeah, I'm actually a person, sorry, that was really weird that I was like a super stalker on the internet. Cool, okay.
Either that, or they're gonna freak you out when they're like, oh, we've been waiting to meet you, we've been wanting to get in the ring with you, because it's not like you're a nobody. People know who you are.
Yeah, I mean, they both follow me, so
there you go. So what are we even talking about? That's already a match made. That's already done.
Yeah. I think, like, once you follow someone on, we're pretty much best friends, I think. Like,
that's how that works. Yeah.
That's friendship.
Right.
So yeah, I think we're best friends.
It's like in the end of Pineapple Express, they get the 3 hearts that go together, and they get the 3. You can get the one in the middle.
That's me.
How about, this is just a random question. I always try to think of one really random question. Who has the best entrance music in wrestling? Either all time and also right now.
Okay, so my favorite entrance music of all time is like, people think it's like, I don't know how to explain. So it's Christian's theme song, but that ended up being Tyson Tomko's theme song, and it's just like it's nothing. It's very generic music. It's like dun, 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 dun. Like it's very like it's nothing.
Okay.
But I was upset. Like it's a banger. Like it's just like it gets me like going. Like I don't know why. Like there's no lyrics. It's literally generic song of like it's nothing, and like obsessed.
I can't think of it right now. I'm gonna have to go back and look it up. All of his.
Man, that's the
his
first
songs.
time Tyson Tomko's been mentioned in a podcast in a long time,
What?
and you're
He's
gonna.
the problem solver. Bitches, please. But my favorite theme song right now. Oh God, I don't know. Oh my God,
I really like
don't know.
Gorillas of Destiny. I really like the Gorillas of Destiny theme song. Yeah.
Like they changed it. Their old
Oh,
one. I was like,
the old one. Yeah.
yeah. They're old. I was like, they changed it. I know. Like the new ones, whatever. But like the old one was like, you just,
that one slapped. Yeah, that was a good one.
It slapped. That's what the kids say.
Yeah, that's what I keep up with the kids these days. Yeah, I got to. Yeah.
Good work.
Tom's always giving me shit for it, but yeah, it happens.
If we're going back in the day, I got another random one for you. If you could go back and put yourself into the cast of any one iconic 80s or 90s movie, which one would you choose?
Oh my God.
Mm.
Oh God. Can I probably like Clueless? Like
Nice. Oh, look at the excitement. He just popped hard right there. Shit.
Like I'd be just like super rich and super beautiful and just like living a great life. That's
I love that movie. I love quoting whenever I can. I swear to God, woman, you can't drive for shit. But that actually wraps up all the questions that I had. You answered so many of the questions that I had written down as you were just going. So I'm like, oh crap, she's just going through all my questions.
Oh no, you can
don't
ask me
apologize.
questions. I'll still answer them. I just like to talk a lot, and then I just ramble, and I end up in weird places.
No, it's
and
cool.
then it just...
I was just so excited to get you on to talk to you. I you know what? So many of my questions are all like, what's the best food in Australia? I'm like, that's stupid. But you know what? Screw it. What is the best food in Australia?
I want to know this now. Yeah, I want to know what the best food in Australia. Not that I'll ever go.
God. Oh, what like? Do we? Fairy bread. Duh, fairy bread.
That was one of the things I looked up. That it just looks like it's a kind of cake.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's bread. It's like white bread.
Okay.
Then you put butter, and then you put sprinkles.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay.
It's great.
It sounds good.
Okay.
At like birthday parties. Like you don't eat it after the age of like 10. But like that's what there's a birthday party, there's a plate of fairy bread, and it's fantastic. That's the most that's the best in like Australian food. Like there's other good food, I don't know, like what do we I don't know. Food.
It's a dumb question. That's why I waited till the end to ask. But unfortunately there's no definitive timetable for when you're going to be back in America. But is there any possibility of any shows occurring in Australia that you'd be a part of, that you can be wrestling over there?
Yeah, so from the 1st of October, our government has said that we are allowed 50% of venue capacity in up to 1,000 venues, seating up to 1,000 people. So now we just have to hope that all the venues haven't gone out of business, and we can book a venue.
It's such a shame that that's like a real concern, you know?
Yeah, not like because that's like we haven't been able to but there's big petitions and yelling at the government to help out the entertainment sector, because like that's our entertainment sector and our airline sectors are probably like the two industries that got affected the most, because one, like, because our state borders were closed.
Right.
There's like one flight each day, each way, like to each state, like, and that's it. Like, so thousands and thousands and thousands of people don't have jobs that were like, if you're a flight attendant, you think you've got this job for life, right? Like, nobody thinks that you're never going to be able to fly, but now you can't fly. Like, at least if you're like an entertainer, it's a bit like, well, you know, like, we're all living a crazy entertaining life. But like, people that were just working at airlines, you never think that's going to get like messed up. So yeah, like once they sort of figure that out, my home promotion is doing a like academy show with like our students in like 2 weeks. So that's like just at our little school. But I'm going to let the students wrestle because like they are more excited to wrestle than me. Like I'm excited to wrestle, but like they haven't wrestled for 13 years. So they're a bit more keen to like kill themselves in a shed than I am. So
I was going to say,
like,
no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have like, as long as we don't like mess it up and, you know, get a bunch of cases again, we'll be able to have a show in like a proper venue by the end of the year, some point, hopefully.
And here's
Unless
hoping
we screw it up.
Well, and here's hoping that moves pretty quickly. I mean, we're getting into the holiday season soon, so hopefully that'll everything will just get back to normal sooner rather than later, or I guess as close to the new normal as we can expect.
Yeah.
In the meantime,
exactly.
I'm going to plug it again. Your podcast, That's So Shazza, is available on all major podcast platforms for download. And you have I think what 10 episodes up now?
Yeah, 10 episodes. I've been doing it for like, oh God, if I record every 2 weeks, how many months is that? No, I'm going to work it out, guys. 20 divided by 4 is 5 months.
I was going to say, you're not going to get any help from me because I
was trying to cheat and put my 5 up. I didn't know if you saw. I was like,
I was like looking this way, so I had to math in my head, guys. It's cool. I'm a math magician.
But,
right here.
But to anybody that likes to binge listen, there's enough content on there for you to be able to go back and listen to a lot, and also keep up with the episodes that you guys are doing. Cass, do you have any questions for the lovely lady while we have her?
I think we covered all the stuff I had down too, man. I was the same thing. I was checking stuff off as she's just going. I'm like, well, that one's gone. That one's gone. So no, when you apologize, you answered everything we had to ask. You didn't have to apologize. We didn't have to pry it out of you. You just told us what we wanted to hear. It's great.
You know,
I'm an open book.
It's funny too because I'm keeping an eye on the clock to see how long we're running, and I'm like shocked at how quickly it went because just having so much fun talking.
We can hang out for longer. It's fine.
Well.
Hey, I'm down. I don't have anything to do. I don't have anything to do tonight. You got to work in the morning, but whatever.
I was gonna say, but you know, I'm surely not gonna rush you guys off either. Let's keep going for another few minutes. I love it. Thank you so much for the time. Who do you like in the women's division from NXT as far as the younger talent that they're bringing up? Now, you mentioned Rhea Ripley that you know, and they have a lot of well, I guess it's not Australian talent, but they have some New Zealand talent there that I'm sure you probably get so sick of getting compared to New Zealand as if it's the same country, right?
It's the New Zealanders that care. Like,
okay.
Australia just claims any successful New Zealander.
Right.
Like, we claimed Pro and stuff. Like, he's New Zealander. Like, Tony Storm, technically born in New Zealand. Nah, Australian, bro. Doesn't.
Like, Australia's got bigger fish to fry. If you look on my map, all of this is Australia. That's New Zealand.
Exactly. Like, it's like Dakota Kai, Australian. Like, she lived here for like a year, so she's Australian.
There you
it's
go.
Fine.
Yeah,
exactly. Like, sure, she grew up in New Zealand, but like, whatever.
But then she wised up and she went to Australia.
Exactly. And gosh, now who is in NXT now that's like I think I'm very excited. Like, she's not new to NXT, but I'm really excited about what they're doing with Aaliyah because she's been there for like so long and like finally like giving her something. And like Robert Stone brand stuff is just, it's just tops. Like just put Robert Stone on TV every week, which is what they're doing. So I can't complain. Like it's a good system. It works. You know, he's entertaining. So more of that. I love that.
I was eating it up when he was like hitting rock bottom and he was just hungover, like half drunk, half hungover with the like 12 o'clock shadow going on in every episode. It was great.
It was so good. Oh, he's hilarious. I love it. I think it's some of the best stuff going on in all of wrestling right now is just his little, whatever it is, his existence.
I don't want to wish ill will on anybody, but strictly for storyline purposes, I hope everything comes crashing down for the brand so we can see more of him at the bottom on camera.
Yes,
on camera.
Yeah. Maybe more of him getting run over by a tank.
Oh, that was beautiful.
That was so fun. That was hilarious. We did a good job on Twitter after that too, just being upset about it, just how much steam it got on that. He's good. He sells everything great, man.
Shazza, what made you laugh more? Robert Stone getting run over by the tank or Sammy Guevara getting run down by a horse by Adam Page?
Oh, I'm still the tank, but you know what made me laugh the most? Was when the first time Sammy got hit by the little buggy.
Oh,
and
that golf cart. Oh,
jumped, like he
spun
was just
off
like,
of it.
Like he committed to that, and I was like, there's no way I could mentally, like, even if there was a crash mat next, like the whole ground was a giant crash mat, there is no way I could mentally jump and throw myself into a golf cart like he did. Like that was insane.
I know. And even with his hands up, it looked like he basically just used his head to pivot off of it.
Yeah,
He pretty much did. That's pretty much what he did. Yeah. I love Sammy. He takes such big bumps and just does such a good job at just that. That's his like new thing. Is like what kind of terrible bump is Sammy going to take right now this time? I love watching it. He's so much fun too, man.
So many of them. I mean, the things that you guys do, it takes a toll on the body. It's not easy just to take the simple bumps, let alone a lot of the stuff that I feel like wrestling fans have become so jaded where it's the stuff that they need just to be entertained by it. But
yeah.
Yeah.
I think people forget how much just a regular clothesline back bump, like how much damage that does to your body. And then they add on jumping off like giant things onto concrete, and like it's crazy. I mean, like, happy to do it, but it's crazy.
Right.
Like
well, we were talking about that from the pay-per-view Sunday, the ladder match. There was tons of spots in that one that were just cringy, like, oh, he's okay. And then the main event, the Drew McIntyre and the ambulance, there was some good stuff there too. It's just, yeah, Dom didn't like it. He was upset with some of it, but I was like, oh, this is good. I love it. This is what I want to see.
How are you upset?
I wasn't upset, but on our last episode, I was talking about how as I get older, I feel more and more guilty when I see the moves that you can just tell immediately cause so much physical damage to the body. Like the spot we were talking about. Well, it was the Raw title match.
It wasn't necessary.
I didn't say it wasn't necessary. All I said was it just I felt guilty watching it because you just saw whether it was glass or plastic, but when Drew went through, was it Drew? Yeah, Drew went through the windshield of the ambulance. And then maybe a minute or so later, you see like half a dozen different spots on his back that are just puncture wounds where he's bleeding out. And it's like, that was the gimmick glass, you know what I mean? And so
yeah,
you can try to keep it as safe as possible, but at the end of the day, it's going to put a beating on you.
Just some little cuts. It's fine.
That'll be all right.
He's a big boy. Don't worry. It's when people do like things that could like have like an error of a margin of for error that is like very large. That's what scares me. Like there's not like the error of like the margin for error of like taking that is not that like he's just going to take it, right? Like it's, you know, it is what it is. But you know, when you're like jumping from like, I don't know, 20 billion feet tall, like there's all this time where you're in the air where your body can just do whatever it wants to do, and that's what scares me.
Yeah.
So I just try to think about it. There's like, there's things that will happen.
Yeah, that's why I hate when wrestling fans get so critical, because it's like, man, you do it. You know what I mean? You go in and try
See
it.
how nobody handles that.
Right. Trying to think of something that Cass can ask as far as like wrestling memorabilia, because I'm just looking at your background and you have so much to show. Now, Sean, I know you didn't really get into it until a little bit later in life, but do you have any special wrestling memorabilia that maybe isn't like personal to you?
I don't have things that are like personal. I still have like all my action figures.
Oh, you do have action figures?
Well, oh yeah, of course I do.
Oh.
But I was buying action figures. I was like, these are going to be worth a lot of money one day. I have the one Dawn Marie action figure that was ever made that was only available online.
Wow.
And I have 4 Maven action figures. Bitch, like, someone's going to want those one day. They're not. They're absolutely not. But I have them. But yeah, like, I have a whole bunch. I have boxes of action figures. And then I have, like, every time, like, one of my friends gets an action figure, I make sure I buy that because that's very exciting. And so those ones, like the Bailey and like Iconics and stuff, I have that one, like those are like displayed in my room, whereas all my like ones from when I was a teenager are like in a box because I've moved, things happen, and you don't put things out. But I have my favorite thing, not my favorite thing, kind of my favorite thing is I have this like replica Divas title, but it's a ring, like, and it's like my first Christmas with my husband, that's what he gave me for Christmas.
Nice.
It's just like a title belt, but it's like a ring, and it was just really, I don't know, I think it's cute. It's a giant ring, like it doesn't fit on any fingers. I don't know what anyone's supposed to do with it, but I have it, so that is what it is.
Let's see. Dom always asks me to find something to show every episode. I'm gonna see if I can find something to do. What do I have? Today I'm gonna grab my
Maven memorabilia.
I've got my Mr. Sacco that he autographed for me.
Ooh.
Yeah, my Nick Foley autographed Mr. Sacco with
we love that.
the certificate of authenticity. So that's my. He had these just sitting there at the table. He would sign it and drew it on us, and he's like, "Here you go," and he just gave that with it. So that's my.
I saw my gear. Someone asked for like a certificate of authenticity, and I was like, "Huh? Like, who else would be selling my?" I was like, I had to like Google it, and I like printed off. Like, I was like, okay, he's like,
you could fake one of those just as easy as you could fake the signature. I don't understand the one. All right, whatever.
They want like a picture of you like holding the gear in one hand, holding a newspaper in another hand.
It's gear specifically made for me. Like, there's not like 20 versions of it.
Yeah, right.
Like,
this is that knockoff fake Gucci version of Shazza.
Yeah. I was like, okay, like, if that makes you feel like better at night or whatever, like, that's no worries. I'll print off a certificate of authenticity.
Shazza,
awesome.
When Cass told me that you were gracious enough to come on and do this interview, I wanted to try to dig a little bit deeper and do a little bit more research. And when I typed your name into Google, I got no, it's not paid. It's not paid. When I typed your name into Google, I got
popped up, and we went down a whole rabbit hole. No,
I got to Shaz, SH1Z, and after one of the greatest, most iconic movies of all time, Shazam, the top Google search was Shazza McKenzie. So I got to know, how does it feel to be such an iconic, transcending brand name at such a young age?
It feels fantastic. It's iconic in, I think there's like 2 things. If you search Shazza, there's 2 Shazzas that will like generally come up. If you're Australian, there's me, and then there's Shazza from Houseos, which is a character in a TV show about a bunch of bogans, and she's like a drug addict whore named Shazza. Because I've explained this on my podcast, but the term Shazza is sort of a nickname that you'd give for someone someone called Sharon, but also someone, a female, a bogan female, which is like the equivalent of like a redneck. So like in Australia, it's a somewhat derogatory term. So I did not want to be called Shazza. Like I was very adamant against being called Shazza. Like I hated it. I got called Shazza by like, I did like a run-in debut kind of thing. And then like during the week, like they like emailed, like this is back in like 2008. So they emailed out the results to everyone. And in the results, it said like Shazza McKenzie made the same. And I was like, well, I guess that's my name. Like
it's in paper.
Like,
it's there now.
Yeah. It's like, that was my name. And then a minute later, I was up on the website on the roster. I was like, oh, yes, that's my name. But now, like 12 years after this incident, when people like, because people like, once I like left that trainer, they were like, why didn't you change your name? And I was like, well, like now I like it because there's only one Shazza in wrestling. Like if you say, hey, I want to wrestle Shazza, they're not confused. If you say you want to wrestle Jess, do I want to wrestle Jess Havoc? Do I want to wrestle Jess Troy? Do I like what Jess do I want to wrestle? Yeah. Like do I want to wrestle Nikki? I want to wrestle Nikki Bella. I want to wrestle Nikki Cross. Like what Nikki do I want to like? It's just like there is just one Shazza. And so like that, even if every time that I show up on any sort of American TV, the Australian fans make lots of bad jokes about how horrible my name is, I will accept that. Because wrestling's not that popular in Australia, so it doesn't matter.
Well, we wouldn't have any idea if you didn't tell us, because I had no idea that was.
It's fine.
Yeah, so
that's the thing to me. I honestly, it sounds like a pop star. It sounds like somebody that's going to be on a marquee, like Shazza McKenzie. You know what I mean? So I didn't even know it was a derogatory thing.
Yeah, look it up on Urban Dictionary. Have fun.
I'm gonna change Shazza from whatever it says to just future AEW Women's Champion.
Yeah. Yes. Let's get that.
But look, Shazza, I am having so much fun talking to you and being able to get this interview with you. Thank you so much for coming on. I am gonna have to cut this because at some point we do have to cut. But listen, you are always way more than welcome to come back on anytime.
Dom, you had an idea that you were wanting to pitch to her about coming on the show more often. This is your time. You got all this extra time, and you've yet to do it. You wanted her to come on and do predictions.
She's so sweet to do this. I'm not going to put her on blast.
Dom was like, "Man, what do you think the odds are that she'd want to come on kind of semi-regularly?" I was like, "I don't know, man. Ask."
If you'd ever like to come on and partake in the either AEW or WWE prediction shows that we do, you can. Where is it? Oh, I have the predictions championship. It's $4,000 of solid gold and
so yeah, you can jump
genuine
on,
leather.
Be in the competition for it. I'm going to take it from him. This week it's coming back. It's coming to me, man.
So
all right.
The door is always open. You're always welcome to come on whenever you'd like, and we'll
ship it to you if you win it too. We've already decided that we're going to ship it to the winner every week, every month.
I'm going to get here for like a month.
It'll take forever. As soon as it gets there, you have to send it right back. But either way.
But that's part of the fun of it.
Yeah.
Or the stupidity of it. I don't know. We'll find out in a few months. But when we were spending hundreds of dollars on this stupid belt, but
all we could have done with the money instead, we spent it on overnighting it to another country, or we got people from the UK we're gonna have on there now, so it's
not
definitely
a stupid belt. It's worth $65,000. It's appreciating by thousands and by the second. So
it's gonna be $1 billion by the time
there you go. And then we'll never see her again.
I sent him a link to the original, like, packaged one that was for sale on eBay, like the 1990 version with the Ultimate Warrior still on the box. Like, Dom, your belt. Here's the $170 version of it. We should get that one. Because it looks any different than the one you've got. But we would know. We would know that it's the real one, the real deal from 1990.
It's true. But
yeah, so anytime, feel free, man. We'd love to have you on again, man. We love this.
Yeah, let's do that sometime.
Let's do it.
But this has been the Push Podcast with Shazza McKenzie. Guys, make sure you head over to wherever you listen to your podcasts and follow her and her show. That's So Shazza. And
where can we find you on social media? Tell us where to find you. Plug your stuff, man.
I'm at Shazza_McKenzie. _McKenzie on the Twitters and on the Instagrams. And I don't know, you just search Shazza McKenzie on Facebook, I guess. I don't know. Like, Facebook just exists. But yeah, that's it. You'll find me. There's things.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again. This has been another amazing show, in spite of my efforts. But thank you so much for being on, and hopefully we'll have you on again soon, Shazza.
Yes. Thank you.
No, thank you. It was a pleasure.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye.